The people yearn for community. Growing up in Singapore, there were 3 things which limited me from finding my community. For one, youth spaces were often tied to drinking and partying, making it difficult to resonate with circles which by nature was already exclusive to certain demographics. Other times, exclusivity was defined by the price tags on these tickets. So whilst I knew that I could pay $20 to attend these events, what about others that couldn't do the same? And maybe cool and accessible spaces did exist. I just honestly didn't know where to go to find them. 3 problems: not diverse enough, not accessible enough, not visible enough. And so where I didn't have a community, I turned to art. Art, to me, a tool of safety and solace, access to narratives, perspectives, a depth of understanding into the lives and times we may have not lived through. Across all of our cultures and history, art has given a voice to those who may have gone unheard. And so, while it was fun making art in my bedroom by myself, I couldn't help but wonder how great it would be to be able to share this experience with others, to talk about my process, to talk about what about art interests me, to see what others were working on, and to support others in their craft. Bobo's Cafe in East London is a space that was all about giving back to the people through free community events like chess clubs, book clubs, talks, and workshops. I stumbled upon their art club one Thursday, and the concept is simple. You would go down to this basement, you're given a sheet of paper, art supplies, and you would sit next to complete strangers. And the types of conversations you would hear in that room were like, I saw this opportunity, you should totally apply for it. I know this person, you love them, let me link you guys. Your work is so cool, do you want to see mine? The biggest thought that I had in that moment was, something like this needs to happen in Singapore, where individuals, no matter your background, no matter your upbringing, no matter who your parents were or who you knew, could come together, create together, and be celebrated in diversity. To come with this openness, to sharing information and inspiration beyond ourselves. I truly believe that art belongs to everyone, and I became motivated to creating a space which accommodated exactly that. With this motivation in creating an inclusive and diverse space for everyone and anyone to come, it was important to me that whoever was going to lead this had to look a little bit like myself. And so I posted a story on my Instagram page that read, if you are or you know someone Malay and or Muslim and is a creative with an entrepreneurial mindset, interested in ground-up initiatives, DM me. Artists, art lovers, educators, friends, strangers, all came together from just that one message. We had Muzamil, who is a content creator in a local media company. He had taught himself everything he now knows about filmmaking just from making films on his iPhone. He had Shakila, who had then worked with children with cancer, making their days fuller by creating art workshops and programs for them. Hafiza, who had just left her 9-to-5, she was looking for a space to reignite her love for the arts. We even had Kaya, who is neither Malay nor Muslim. She is a girl from New York, and she had relocated to Singapore for her studies. And she was just looking for a community in a new city. Kaya has been a dedicated team member ever since. So with this motivation, we all came together to build this community, and we wanted this space to be free for all. And so we built senisini, which when directly translated from Malay means art here. A foldable table, art supplies, and a bold sign that read, make art for free. For one of our first few events, we had collaborated with a local cafe, and we brought our art club to an alleyway off Haji Lane, asking people to come by, come make art, and bring your art supplies. The art supplies that people donated, we still use today for the art clubs that we run. A group of boys had peered in, and the first thing they said was, oh, but none of us can draw well. A few moments later, they started a drawing competition, drawing each other, sharing funny anecdotes about why they've illustrated the other boys in the ways that they did. A few moments later, others started to join in, and the liveliness of the table drew more and more people to come by. A cook from a restaurant next door had asked if he could participate, and so he took a sheet of paper, he started scribbling away, and then he stood up, held the paper, and then shared the story behind what he had drawn. And it was of his hometown back in Turkey, and the river that he would have to cross every day, and how he yearned to relive his childhood memories again. At its core, diversity of experiences and interests was really what brought our community together. For example, our show and tell, which offers a free platform to artists and creatives across different mediums to come by and share a bit about themselves and their work. We had Karya Culture, who is a youth performance group that uses puppets to tell stories with the aims of preserving Singapore's diverse heritage. Putri, who is a fashion designer. She had done a showcase walking us through her different pieces and how she balances modernity and cultural identity through her work. In the corner of the room stood a big red house where Fari, an illustrator and educator, sit inside. And anyone that knocked in, she would share a conversation with. And based on that conversation, she would illustrate an image for them to keep. Afreen, who was also showcasing an installation on that day, and Shahrul, who was a volunteer capturing the moments of the day, they met each other during that show and tell. The two boys collaborated on a short film a few months later and showcased it at our next round of our show and tell. With our roving model of bringing our art clubs to conventional and unconventional spaces, we really thought about those who may not have the accessibility to attend our events. And so we thought, how could we bring our art clubs to them? Our Sunday art clubs at Muhammadiyah Welfare Home, a care and protection home for boys between the ages of 8 to 21 years old, has been the greatest reminder of why we do what we do. The aim is simple. We wanted to expose the boys to different forms of art expression and art mediums. And so one example has been our photography club, where we called out photographers from our community to come and volunteer with us and share their camera equipment with the boys. And so without an agenda of what they had to capture, we let them and their creativity run free. And the boys turned into photographers for a day, capturing anything and everything with the help and guidance of our fellow community members. We brought in zine making, letting the boys cut up pictures and images and texts that inspired them. And so for one of the pages, we had asked the boys to reflect on some of the thoughts that they had in their head on that day. And one of the boys had written, 1, how to improve myself, 2, to improvise, 3, make my future. Another one of the boys found sound and tech equipment and had wrote, in the future, I see myself working as a tech man. As we parted ways with the boys at the end of the year, we exchanged letters with them. And I found out recently that one of the boys has been keeping the letter that I wrote for him in his pocket, and he has a peek at it every time he feels unmotivated. Another boy had shared that when he gets the opportunity to leave the welfare home when he turns 18, he would love to be part of senisini and give back to the community in the ways that he can. And his words anchored our community deeply into our intention, where we're trying to create this ecosystem of giving. It's not just about himself or his experiences with art making, but rather to channel that into making more opportunities for others. When we created this space to be free for all, it became a leveled, safe, and equal one. In all of its spontaneity, the art belonged to us, showing us how art can take a powerful form when barriers are dissolved. In our collectivity, we now hold this privilege to be able to learn from each other, and art making giving us a language to be able to understand others a little better. Art no longer was for those that could draw well, but for the office worker who didn't have a creative outlet, or the uncle cutting up paper in an alleyway, telling us it's been years since he last worked on an art piece, or the filmmaker who just wanted the opportunity to be able to showcase his films. Art belongs to all of us, and in all of the storylines that we live through, coming together to create a story of which we all belong to. Thank you.